The Kansas City Chiefs are at the center of even more rumors now about acquiring players, and this time the offensive tackle position in particular. Now, I don't bring you guys all of the rumors that there are floating around out there, but I think that there are some interesting points to be had here, including what is mentioned in the title of the article that we will be referencing here. Chiefs' quiet approach at tackle sparks speculation as new veteran option hits the market. Story by Matt Connor from Fansided. And the interesting part of that is, in particular, the quiet nature. We didn't hear any rumblings about the Kansas City Chiefs going after offensive tackles in the trade market. We didn't hear about the Kansas City Chiefs going after very many offensive tackles in the draft. We haven't heard a whole lot about the position in general from the Kansas City Chiefs outside of the players that they have in the building. But one other thing that I think is necessary to address here is the growing sort of, well, you know how it is, the growing disdain, perhaps, for Brett Veach's part in the offensive line. And this is Brett Veach's fault. Why don't the Kansas City Chiefs have a left tackle? Well, guys, it's not for lack of trying. Maybe it's a little bit for lack of trying. You could see it that way if you're looking at things from the first round perspective. But there's more to football than that. And guys, the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to keep a competitive football team on the field. And if you look at the past 7 years, they've done at least that, right? So I think that it is a little bit misguided to believe that the Kansas City Chiefs, and Brett Veach in particular, could just snap his fingers and manifest a starting caliber left tackle. There's not very many in each draft, and they certainly are rare to fall to the 32nd overall pick, to the 31st overall pick, to the 30th overall pick. And that seems to be, thankfully, where the Kansas City Chiefs are drafting. The interesting thing to sort of note here is, if you want to talk about the Chiefs' biggest rival, at least as far as things are perceived from the national perspective, it would be the Cincinnati Bengals. And like every 3 years, the Cincinnati Bengals have a season where the bottom just falls out. And now that they're having a season where the bottom falls out, and they're really going to have to focus on the contracts coming due, things could change very fast in Cincinnati, and they never got a ring out of it. They got one Super Bowl appearance out of it. And am I wrong that there was just one AFC Championship game appearance out of it? I'm not going to take the time to think about it right now, but that is just something to keep in the back of your mind, that you don't get to just have great players in the NFL. You have to draft them because signing them is very difficult to do and comes at the expense of the rest of your roster. So when you go out there and you do sign a guy that is a superstar, you had better draft very, very well at every other position in every other round. So just something to think about when you are stressing over the pressures that are put on Patrick Mahomes this coming Sunday. The article itself goes on to say this: at this point, the Kansas City Chiefs appear to be comfortable going forward into the stretch run of the 2024 season with the youthful set of characters they've already acquired at left tackle. Despite ongoing injury concerns and consistency issues, the Chiefs have stuck to their roster guns, as they say, so perhaps they're indifferent to changes in the free agent market. That said, if that's not entirely the case, Chiefs general manager Brett Veach might be keeping an eye on the latest addition to the potential player pool. Veteran offensive tackle DJ Humphries has been slowly and steadily making his way back from a torn ACL suffered this past season, a la Chiefs pass rusher Charles Omenihu. NFL reporter Adam Schefter reports that he's finally been cleared to return to the field medically as the season heads into Week 12. Then we have the tweet from Ian Rappaport, former Arizona Cardinal Pro Bowl left tackle DJ Humphries, who is recovering from a torn ACL, has been medically cleared to return to play. Source said Humphries visited the Giants earlier in the season and could be a key option in the event of a major injury. The article continues, as of now, the Chiefs haven't made any moves at tackle outside of the organization, nor has there been any smoke about potential moves. That's a major statement considering the Chiefs have been active, or at least interested in, other deals at wide receiver, cornerback, and pass rusher in and around the trade deadline. One thing that I will add to this is that and we're going to, when we get back to the article, it will be after a little bit of a skip in the writing from the author there. One of the things that is noteworthy here about the offensive tackle position, if the plan was, hey, we're going to try out these kids, and if it doesn't work out, we will sign a veteran for the home stretch, is this. There are 7 games left in the season. Not 17. Not 10. Not 11. The Kansas City Chiefs have gotten to the portion of the season where acquiring talent will cost less against the salary cap because there are fewer games left to play. You are going to be paying this player on a week-by-week average that is lower because you are signing them to less than a half a season's contract. Important for a team that is so strapped against the salary cap. Important for a team that was going to try to figure out the future at left tackle anyway. Important for a team that is doing its best to keep talent in-house. Seeing how these players will do. It is notable that Kingsley Suamataia did not even dress for this previous game. Why that is notable against the Bills, why that is notable is that I think it is not necessarily the worst sign. The worst sign is to say the Chiefs have given up on him. I think it was Andy Reid and the coaching staff giving Kingsley Suamataia a breather. Look, you don't have to focus on all of the external noise this week. The interesting thing about that, what was the contingency plan? Was it Ethan Driscoll, the UDFA out of Marshall? He made his first appearance in the NFL on special teams this past weekend. Was that the plan had Wanya Morris needed to come out of the game? Wanya Morris has needed to rotate out of the game several times since being in the starting lineup. Andy Reid says that they even have plans for it because his knee is still not 100%. The article continues, this is about DJ Humphries. Humphries was a first-round pick at number 24 overall in the 2015 NFL Draft for the Cardinals, and he's made 98 total starts since then. At 30 years old, he's younger than Smith and other vets on the open market, although the injury concerns are real here. He also missed most of the season in 2017, 2018, and 22 with various health issues. The Pro Bowl did come calling for Humphries in 2021, so the ceiling there is above the average performer when upright and healthy. Then again, it's impossible for anyone outside of the situation to predict whether he'd be an upgrade for the Chiefs' starting line. At the very least, Humphries would provide some veteran leadership and security for a line that has so little experience hurtling towards the postseason. Or perhaps the Chiefs are ready to roll with the prospects and let the rest of the vets along the line lead the way forward. So who is DJ Humphries? Well, as they state, he's 30 years old, 6'5", 307 pounds, has 33 5/8-inch arms with a 10-inch hand. Those are both passable measurables. 31-inch vertical leap. That's a good number. You would maybe expect a little bit better for an offensive lineman that only weighed 307 pounds at the time. And 26 reps on the bench press with those nearly 34-inch arms. That is a good number for the position. He has played 98 games in his NFL career and started 98 games. You see there that he played 15 games in 2023. Then you were looking at some of the different injuries he's had back in 2017, playing only 5 games, 2018 playing only 9 games, and then 2019, 2020, and 2021, which we'll talk about in a second, he played 16 games. In 2022, he played 8 games and then obviously missed the last 2 games of last season. Now, that 2020-2021 stretch, he played, or 2028, like 2020, 2020, I'm losing it, guys, 2018. He played 100% of the snaps for which he was available, as well as 2019 and 2020. In 2021, he played 99% of the games for which he was available, which was only 16 games. 2020, 575 snaps, 99% of the snaps for which he was available. Also, 93% of the snaps for which he was available during those 15 games in 2023. So, if he is healthy, he is on the field. That is something to take away from this. But let's look for a moment at the other options that are there in free agency. The article makes the point that you're looking at a guy who's a little bit younger than the other offensive tackles here. Obviously, we are familiar with Donovan Smith, the 31-year-old with 136 starts in his career. Going back up to DJ Humphries, you are looking at a guy with 98 starts. So while he is younger, he is meaningfully behind the other names on this list. Donovan Smith, with whom we are intimately familiar, 6'5" and 5/8 inches, 338 pounds, 34 and 3/8 inch arms, basically 34.5 inch arms, 10 and 5/8 inch hands, a monster of a man. The same 26 reps on the bench press as DJ Humphries had, a 32-inch vertical with 338 pounds in tow. Then we have Charles Leno, 33 years old with 141 starts, 6'3" and 7/8 inches tall, so not quite 6'4", 303 pounds, 34 and basically 34.5 inch hands, or arms. 34.5 inch hands would be very impressive. 34.5 inch arms, 10 and 1/8 inch hands. You had 21 reps on the bench press, 31.5 inch vertical. But he has 141 starts, more even than Donovan Smith in his career, despite the fact that he is, so 5 more starts there, despite the fact that he is 2 years older. Then we have David Bakhtiari here, 6'4" and 1/4 inches tall. He was drafted at 299 pounds. I believe he is normally listed around 307 now. 34-inch arms, 28 bench press reps, that's the most on this list, a 25.5 inch vertical, that is the least on this list. I will not make the obvious joke there. You know the obvious joke to be had there. But what we are looking at here in the free agent market, it's a lot of guys who have good measurables and a lot of starts, but serious questions. For the most part, these players are looking at health questions. For the most part, these players are looking at what? Difficulty on the football field at this point in their career, matching up with speed rushers. So, yes, you can sign one of these guys and you will be meaningfully impacted in the department of experience. But I don't know that they're necessarily going to help you all that much in the physical realm on the football field. All of these guys are going to have a few more tricks of the trade. I'm not opposed to it. Here's why I'm not opposed to it. Any one of these guys, so the Chiefs right now, should they win against Carolina, maintain the fact that they have the best record in the NFL. So at this point, entering the playoffs, the Chiefs will probably have the best record in the NFL. So even if the Kansas City Chiefs do not get to the Super Bowl, they're going to have the latest pick that you can have not getting to the Super Bowl. Should they go to the Super Bowl, obviously they will have the 31st or 32nd pick, which they have had time and again in the past 5 years, past 6 years. So when you're looking at that, you have one of the best records in the NFL. You might as well sell out. I think they are selling out. I think the plan has been this entire time to sell out and try to get 3 consecutive rings. Sacrificing the last month or so of the regular season, sacrificing the playoff run, and by sacrificing, I mean in football experience for Wanya Morris and Kingsley Suamataia, is not as big of a deal on the franchise/organizational level as it is to win a third consecutive Super Bowl. I don't know that Donovan Smith would be better than Wanya Morris. Donovan Smith, when we last saw him, was not the most competitive offensive tackle we have ever seen. David Bakhtiari, I don't know. The last David Bakhtiari that I remember seeing, I was not particularly impressed. DJ Humphries, I think, is the most physically gifted of this group. And then when you're looking at Leno, that's a guy, I'll be 100% honest, Charles Leno's a guy I don't know all that much about. I'm assuming that's a fairly good thing because it means he had a quiet existence in the NFL up to the point of being 33 years old and having 141 starts. I know Charles Leno's name. I know roughly a little bit about his career, but off the top of my head, I can't tell you too terribly much about him. David Bakhtiari was devastatingly effective without ever being devastatingly impressive. Donovan Smith was one of those guys who you could always see the upside, but he never quite got there. And then DJ Humphries is one of those guys that would sort of reach up and kiss his potential from time to time. He's a very athletic offensive lineman, but I don't know that he's someone who's going to be – you don't know where he is with his injury, and he gets injured a lot. So when he comes back, should you find yourself having 2019, 2020, 2021 DJ Humphries, you're in good shape. If you find yourself having 2018 DJ Humphries, 2017 DJ Humphries, 2022 DJ Humphries, well, the Kansas City Chiefs have a story with which they have been familiar all season, and that is the story of injury. So, if you're going to go out and sign a veteran offensive tackle, DJ Humphries, in my opinion, has the highest upside. David Bakhtiari probably has the highest floor. Donovan Smith, you kind of know what you're getting with. And I don't know that Donovan Smith or Leno are going to be definitive upgrades, even at their best, over Wanya Morris or Kingsley Suamataia. Well, maybe the Kingsley Suamataia that we saw the last time we saw Kingsley Suamataia. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.